Welcome to Sovereign CEO, location independent income through your own location independent business that sets you free from your stupid BS bullshit, BSN bullshit, same thing. 9-to-5 job. So you become a more free person. Location independent lifestyle, which means you can set up an international backup plan or move to a less bad country and do all these things for very little money, because these things actually don't cost a lot of money if you know what to do. And you know which countries to work with and actually how to set up your business and all that good stuff. Let's see here. Today we were going to cover two things. Get my notes here. One is we're going to discuss niching, which I've discussed before. I'm going to go into a little more detail on how I've done in terms of what I've talked about publicly in terms of niching your business, why you should. So I'm going to give you specific examples of how several different types of niches, because that's one of the most important things you can do in your business. We talk about this a lot in the 90-day business builder. We spend like 4 or 5 weeks on nothing but niche. It's such a critical part of your business. It makes everything else easier. Talk about that. Then we will talk about why a lot of you are just fucking insane from too much news and too much social media, and you're going crazy about this Israel thing when you don't fucking need to, because your societal programming coming down from the elites is working on you. And you're falling right into the trap of being irrational and stupid. So we'll talk about that. Let's see. If you guys in the chat could leave the number 2, if you could both see me and hear me, that'd be great. You should, but I've used this microphone for various different purposes today, so I hope I got to make sure. Bitcoin is now in the 40,000s. So I have now more than double the money that I put in 2 years ago when I sold some gold and bought Bitcoin at 20. I see 2 is great. Now I'm going to start getting all the questions. Hey, Caleb, what do you think about Bitcoin? Now that it's going up and it's getting exciting again, now people will start putting their money into it. No. You put money into things when they are bad and everyone hates them. I said this 10,000 times, not when they're exciting and making more money. But there you go. All right. Let's see here. What do I want to talk about before we get to the topics? I can do 1 or 2 quickie questions if you have one. Yep, hang on. Organize my notes here a little bit. I want to see the new Godzilla movie because it's going to be good. As I said, it was going to be good because it's not from the West. Non-Western movies are still good. But it is not playing here in Dubai. So what I have to do is when I go to the United States on the 21st, I'll be there for a week for Christmas, meeting my family and my wife. I will have to see Godzilla while I'm there. I have an entire list of things I got to do whenever I go back to the USA, logistical things like stuff for my testosterone, some banking stuff I have to physically be there. That's why I go there once every 6 months. Oh, here's something cool. So I just calculated the number of days I will spend in the U.S. because I have to do that for tax purposes. I have to track the number of days I spend in different countries. And my number is 40 something. It's like 40, 48 I have in front of me. 48 days for the year. Because last year was like 90. Year for that was 110. It drops every year. So next year, I'm going to try to get it under the 36, 35, which is the big one for the foreign earned income exclusion. I still get a big income exclusion, but I pay a tax penalty every day I stay in the U.S. over 35 calendar days per year. So I'm going to take a little bit of a tax hit next year, but pretty cool. Not bad. I'm not clicking questions anymore. I want to create a blog about my life process and generate passive income. What do you think? That doesn't sound very niche. I think that's a terrible idea. Niche, or don't do it. Unless you want to do it for fun. You said passive income means it needs to be niched. How do I get a job that pays $30,000 a year in Toronto? I have applied for 200 jobs last month and 5 years of retail experience. I do not assist people on how to get jobs. You shouldn't get a job. Now, if you absolutely need a job, I understand. Just get a fucking job. It doesn't matter what job it is, and start your Alpha 2.0 business on the side so you can quit your job. I don't help people find jobs. I don't help people become better slaves. So I can't answer that question. Will there ever be a day where you will never be in the United States ever again? Probably. Yeah, that day is coming, but it's going to be a few years. But yeah, I can envision the day where I just literally don't go back. It's nice to go back for things like events, I still want to put on events. So that would mean if I never go back to the United States, I would never be able to put on a seminar or an event in the US. That kind of sucks. So that's why I hesitate on that. So other than that, but the day is coming very soon, maybe even next year, where the only reason I go back is for very specific, like I'm doing an event and then I leave. And that's it. Or I do some banking and I leave. Or I pick something and I leave. Get the hell out of there. A few days, I'm out of there. And the rest of the time, I'm in other countries. So that's hopefully next year. Pity about Charlie Munger. I know it sucks. I know. But, old people, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Charlie Munger's great. How long does Pink Firefly expect to spend in America this year? Well, I can already calculate it. She's been there since August. There you go. She's spending more and more time in Dubai. She spent all year last year in Dubai. This year, most of the year. So it's kind of, the answer is yes, she's spending more and more time in Dubai, but she will never spend as much time in Dubai as I am. And she will always go over the X number 3-4 months a year in the United States. So, yeah. Is having a 401k ever a good idea instead of putting money into gold crypto? I've answered this question before. It's a difficult question. It is a terrible idea. Gold and crypto is far superior. However, you get a match, and the match is pretty good. So by giving up your 401k, you're giving up that match, and the match is like free money. However, the government then controls that money. And, they can pull that from you at any time they want. It's a government instrument. So I don't want any government instruments in my life. So I don't have anything like a 401k or IRA. I want the government far away from my cash. Generally speaking, I would recommend to not have a 401k, but it's hard for me to recommend that when you get that match. So generally the answer is no, but there is a counter argument that I'm acknowledging. Caleb, how do you have so much clarity about what you want in life? Many times I reach my goals I thought I wanted, but not happy as I thought, because I have something called a mission. I just spent every morning now I'm working on my book. It used to be a few times. Now it's every morning I'm working on the book. I'm talking about mission. I'm writing about mission. Mission. Make sure that you don't go after goals you really don't want. That's why. All right. Let's get to the topic. First topic. 2 topics today. Usually do 2 topics. Usually how I'm doing these. That seems to work best for you guys. Niching your business. You must niche. When you start a business, a location-independent business on the side to set you free, you must service a narrow niche. If you just like how to lose weight, or I do accounting, or I'm an attorney, these are not niched, and you are dumb. It's going to be very, very difficult to make money doing this quickly. When you start your own location-independent Alpha 2.0 business, you want to make sure you're narrowly niched. Why? When you are narrowly niched, I'll describe what a niche is. What is it? Doctors is not a niche. Hospitals is not a niche. That's an industry or a demographic. Talk about that. When you are narrowly niched, number 1, you make a lot more money. Number 2, you can charge higher prices because you're niched. Number 3, you need less this is my big thing. You need less customers or clients to hit your financial goals, which means you don't have to work as hard. So the person who is narrowly niched business owner versus the generalist business owner, the niche guy is making more money on less hours per week, which is the entire point of the Alpha 2.0 business. It is to increase your freedom, not reduce your freedom. Most business owners quit their jobs. The joke is you quit your job working 8 hours a day to start your own business. You can work 10 hours a day. That's true with most typical normal businesses, including internet-based businesses, because they're not niched. Okay. Next one. You can much more quickly, easily, and cheaply pinpoint your target audience through both organic stuff like social media and paid ads. When you are narrowly niched, it's really easy and cheap to get paid ads. When you're like, anyone in the world who wants to lose weight, good luck. Good luck buying ads for that. Stupid. Or any guy in the world who wants to get laid. The good luck? Yeah, no. Next one, you are instantly perceived as an expert in your field because you're niched. People say, oh my God, this guy only works at companies like me or people like me. Awesome. So the value perception goes up. The branding takes a big bump upward when you're narrowly niched. Okay. Then lastly, you get more referrals and more word of mouth because everyone in the niche is going to tell everyone else in the niche, hey, this guy or gal only works with people or companies just like us. You got to talk to him or her. It's win, 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 win all over the place. And here's the big excuse. But Caleb, what if my niche is too small? What if there isn't enough people in my niche so I can have a business? Here is a true statement. I said this many times. We've been running the Business Builder program now for over a year. Tons of people have gone through this program. Okay. I've seen a lot of niches. I've also worked with people for decades. I've seen a lot of niches. People have pitched niches to me. Okay. Here's a true statement. I have never heard of a niche that really was a niche. That's the proviso. That really was a niche where you couldn't make a 7-figure income from that niche. And I've seen some small, little, tiny niches. Even these small, little, tiny niches, you could make not a 6-figure income, a 7-figure income. Now, I do not necessarily teach how to make a 7-figure income. It's a whole different thing. My niche, see, I follow my own advice. I'm doing that Trump thing again. My niche is people who are, for the most part, 9-to-5 employees who want to start their own business and get free. Now, I have a lot of people who have their own companies in my niche. That's okay. But that's not my niche. How to make millions of dollars. You go talk to Grant Cardone or Gary Vee or Alex Hormozi. You talk to those guys. Okay. I don't want to get involved in that niche, even though I'm technically in that niche myself. I don't want to be involved in that niche. Now, what is a niche? So first, it's easier to talk about what a niche is or isn't. So first of all, you can't just say doctors' offices. That's not a niche. Do you know how many different types of doctors there are? Do you have any idea? Accountants, not a niche. Sorry. You know how many different types of accountants there are? It's not a niche. Instead, it would be, pediatricians in private practice over the age of 60. There's a niche. There we go. Now you have a niche, not just doctors. So niche is very narrow. People say, okay, my niche, Caleb, my niche is men between 25 and 50 who like sex and it's something very broad. You know how broad that is? How many men don't like sex? So then it has to be narrow niche. So you got to make sure it's not an industry. If otherwise it is an industry, if you're B2B, or if it's a demographic, B2C. Single moms, not a niche. Also not a good niche. Talk about in a second. Okay. So the first thing is, number one, the niche has to be a real niche. It cannot be a demographic. It cannot be just a generic industry. Healthcare. Here's one. Cryptocurrency. Not a niche. It was a niche in 2015. That was a niche. Is it a niche now? Nope. Not even close. It's an industry. My first online business was teaching men how to do online dating back in 2009. In 2009, online dating was a niche. It was a niched thing. It was this weird new thing. And there's a lot of controversy about it. Guys would say, well, that's not real game. And, oh, that's for pussies. It doesn't work. And that's when I got into that niche. Can you have a business on how to do online dating today? No, it's not a niche. Everyone does online dating now. It's not a niche. It's a norm. Now it's an industry. So if you're doing online dating, something, it better be narrowly niche because now it's a big industry. So sometimes things start out as niches and become industries. AI was a niche a few years ago. Now it's an industry. It's going to be a huge industry. So just because it was a niche a while ago doesn't mean it's a niche now. Make sense? Okay. Next one. The niche cannot be in a dying industry. You want a business that you can make money on for the next decade at least. So newspapers, printed magazines, probably not good niches. Manufacturing in the West, probably not great. What's another one? Audio studios, recording studios, not a good idea. These are dying industries. Now, ideally, you want your industry to be a growth industry. I am very good at picking niched growth niches, not a growth industry, growth niche. So you want to turbocharge your business, your new business, to get to zero for money fast as possible, which is what I teach. You get a narrow niche that's booming. Sovereign CEO is what? People who are sick and tired of their collapsing Western countries and need to get the fuck out. Or at least are looking to do that someday, or looking to travel more, or get more location dependent. Is that a dying niche, a stagnating niche, or a growth niche? It's a massive growth niche. Are you kidding? You should see the numbers of people getting the fuck out of the United States, Australia, Western Europe, Canada, Everyone's get the fuck out of there. It's like California, except on a mass scale. So you ideally want a narrow little tiny niche that is growth on a growth curve. That's going to grow over the next few years, not just be okay. Next one, the niche has to have enough money to buy what it is you want to sell. And ideally, you want to charge as much money as you can based on the value of what you're offering, based on your value proposition. So if you have a niche for single moms, nothing wrong with single mothers, but do single moms have a lot of money? If your niche is college students, do college students have a lot of money? No. Parents, rich parents of college students, now we're on to something. I just talked to someone. We just had a 90-day business builder session about an hour ago. And one of the guys is working on a niche where it's wealthy, what did he say? Wealthy Korean parents sending their kids to private schools in Korea. Oh, very good. Now we're on to something. That niche has money and they're motivated. Cool. Those are the 3 requirements. That's it. Has to be a real niche. Ideally, should not be dying. Needs to have money. And now you're good at a possibility of choosing that niche for your business. Now, this is something I haven't talked about publicly a lot. And I've talked about this in some of our programs. There's 3 levels of niching. Okay. The first one is and the one that is most obvious to most people is you can niche the market. You can niche the audience. I say audience because I'm a public figure, but the market is a better term. You can niche the market. So instead of saying attorneys, you say my niche, I'm going to niche the market. Instead of saying attorneys, I'm going to say patent attorneys who work on internet IP. So what you've done is you've taken an industry and you've narrowed down the audience to you've niched the audience. Okay? Makes sense? Now, what you can also do, another way of niching, is that you can narrow down your offering, your service, your product, whatever it is you're selling. You can niche down your offering. So instead of saying, I'll use my dumb example from the 90s when I started my first business, I'm a computer consultant who will fix your computer problems. Okay, that's not a niched offering. Now, if you offer that niched offering so this is kind of what I did, sort of. I took my open, non-niched offering and I offered it to a niched audience. I'm a computer guy who will help all your computer problems on your small computer network in your small business, but I only work with lumber companies. So that is a niche business. It is not a niched offering, but it is a niched audience. But you could niche your offering. Instead of saying, I do, let's do a computer example. I fix computer problems. Okay, you could instead say, I work on these 2 property management vertical market software apps. It's all I do. And now you're done. And I will work with any company in the world as long as you're using those 2 applications. That's it. So now you've niched your offering, but you have not niched your audience, and that's okay too. You can niche one or the other. Now, again, if you want to turbocharge this shit, and this is hard to do, you got to really think different. You got to really brainstorm this out. You can niche both. You can niche what you do only to a narrow audience. You can do that. So, trying to give an example. What I could do is Sovereign CEO. This is a niche business. It's a niched audience, and it's a reasonably niched offering, but not as niche as it could be. But it's a niched audience, so it's, as long as you niche one or the other, you're okay. But what I could do, I'm not going to do this, but what I could do, I could revamp Sovereign CEO, the whole company. I'd say, from now on, we sell nothing except Paraguay relocation services. That's it. Well, I could get rid of the business builder. I could get rid of Dubai stuff. I could get rid of all that stuff. We're a company that helps you relocate or get residency in the country of Paraguay. That's it. So that'd be a niched audience and a niched offering. It'd be crazy niched. I could do that. I don't want to, but I could. Caleb, why don't you? Because it's not a new business. If you're starting a new business, you could do that. Starting a brand new business, you could niche both. Awesome. Now that's harder. I understand that's difficult. Finding a niche is difficult process. The beauty of a niche, I say this to the business builder guys all the time. The beauty of a niche is once you've established your niche and it's a real niche and it's vetted, it's all good. That's the hard part's over. Everything else is easy. Setting up, what you're going to sell, figuring out your website, your marketing, how to service your customers, clients, writing your ebook, whatever. That's the easy part, because now you know what you're doing. It's niched. Make money fast. It's easy. Just you got to get over that hard hump first. So if you really want to go crazy with this shit, so I give you 2 turbocharged techniques in this topic. Number 1, you can turbocharge. What was number 1? Narrow niche in a growth niche. Number 1. Number 2, you niche the offering, what you're selling, and the audience instead of just one or the other. You don't have to do these things. You don't have to. You just niche once and you're good, as long as you hit those parameters. But if you want to turbocharge, do those 2 things. Holy shit. Awesome. I sometimes brainstorm out, if I were to start a brand new business from scratch in a zone I had never worked with before, what would I do? I think this through, and that's kind of what I would do. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that, but that's what I would do, because I want 0 to the money fast, baby. It's awesome. My CCM business that I had to close down because of the pandemic, and it's okay because my other companies made so much money, it didn't really matter. But that was similar. It was a niched audience and a niched offering. It's a very specific type of marketing that only certain companies could do to a very narrow type of IT niche. Pretty good. And I made a lot of money at that business and worked very little hours. Very little. Okay. I already see questions on niches. Let's discuss these questions because you're nice and on topics. Let's do this. Hang on a second here. All right, it's a mixed bag here. What are some things you get from a Mexican passport that you don't get from a U.S. passport? You can leave the country, they don't tax you. In the United States, if you leave the country, they tax you forever. In the Unchained Man, you have code above mission in the flowchart picture. Why isn't mission then first, then code? You have to have code first, because the code determines the parameters of the mission. It's not that code's more important. What if your mission violates your code? That can't happen. Code first, then your mission. Now, in the new Unchained Man, there's a piece in between code and mission called vision. I'm updating that shit, but that's why. Caleb, I feel like it's really hard to reach my ideal niche because they will want to see evidence I have experienced or delivering results, but I don't. That is one of the most common excuses I get. It rarely happens. Stop fantasizing about problems you've never experienced. Here's a rule of thumb. I saw, those of you know who Dan Pena is, he brought on one of his youngest people, this like 19-year-old, he's multimillionaire doing roll-ups and shit. And they both talked about this. Dan Pena and this kid were both talking about this. The number one problem is people bring up excuses that I've never seen happen. The odds of someone saying, hey, I want proof of your experience or else fuck you, that is very rare. Instead, what you can also do is you say up front, hey, I'm new at this. So normally I would charge this. Because I'm new, I'm going to charge you half off, just this. But you're going to give me a testimonial. And you do that for your first 1 to 3 customers. You're honest with them. If they ask you, have you ever done this for anyone else before? No, I'm new. I'm new at this. So instead of charging you this, I'll charge you that. You've preempted the objection. Stop worrying about shit that you've never seen happen that rarely happens in the real world. You're a lissig. You're being a lissig. Stop being a lissig. Stop thinking and start acting. What about picking a niche that serves divorce attorneys working for or against high net worth individuals? Many marriages end in divorce. Most marriages end in divorce. Yeah, I know. But fewer people are getting married. Correct. That's not quite niched enough, but it's close. I would do one more level of niche and you're there. Yeah, that's close. Still a little too broad. Would corporate insurance companies or underwriters in NAM for enterprise size policyholders based in US, Canada, would solving their biggest problem be a small enough consulting niche? Worldwide, let's go through this again. Corporate insurance companies or underwriters for enterprise size policy. Nope, too big. Not narrow enough. Similar to the first guy, one more level of what we call burrow. One more level of burrow, and you're probably there. Caleb, how do you determine if you're in a growth niche? Google and ChatGPT are your best friends. Google around and ChatGPT around. What is this industry? Because they're not going to know, because these Google and ChatGPT are not going to understand niches, but they understand industries. How well is this industry expected to do over the next 10 years? And do some research and figure it out. And if you still have no idea after doing research, don't pick that niche. You want to know. And again, you don't need a growth niche. It's just ideal. You don't need a growth niche, but you don't want a dying niche or a stagnant. A stagnant niche is okay. A dying niche is not. Will be 2 examples of narrow niches for high-ticket consulting for digital marketing agencies that are not MMR. I don't know what MMR means. And are not project-based. I don't know what that means. Not project-based, which micro niches would be great for consulting contracts. I don't understand half what you said. I didn't go to college. I don't know that fancy talk. Again, you're not the same guy. You're all being listics. You're way overthinking this stuff. Way overthinking. Figure out a niche and get to work. Let's say you want to do something with photography. I don't like that niche, but you could. It's possible. I don't like that niche because is there a lot of money in photography? So I don't love that niche. But if you find a niche in photography, you could make it work. Yes. Is something like leadership coaching a good business idea? It's not niched at all. Leadership is not niched at all. No. That's a terrible idea. If you're going to be a coach, we teach coaching in the 90-Day Business Builder program. I'm a coach. Narrow niche. Either a very narrow type of coaching for anyone. Leadership is not narrow. It's the opposite of narrow. Or you teach leadership, but only for this narrow niche of humans. And then you're good. Caleb, I cold called, emailed 30 potential customers, and they literally said, link me to your work. I said I was new and offered to work for free once. They all ghosted. I would need to see your email. I have no idea what you're still trying to sell. It's a situation where you're not listening. Good. That is good. I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you actually took action. I don't know what you're offering. I don't know what you said. You don't do, hey, hire me. That's not how you cold email people. Plus, cold email is hard to sell things. Cold email is good to research a niche and to make contacts and to make connections. Very difficult to sell someone over cold email. You send me a cold email, guess what I'm going to do? My staff will delete it. Because I don't know who the hell you are. So instead of saying cold email, you say, hey, I'm doing research on people in your industry. Don't say niche because you don't know what niche means. People in your industry, what is your biggest problem? Or, hey, I've developed this da-da-da-da. I'd like to give it to you for free. Here it is. Or you offer something for free. You don't say, hey, hire me. Hi, I'm this random person on the internet you never heard of. Hire me right now. Well, of course you're going to say, who the fuck are you? Yeah. That's just incorrect marketing. You don't use cold email to market. You use cold email to research. Here's my niche. I help 6-figure remote workers. That's not a niche. A lot of those. Leaving Canada, secure 100% passive income through turnkey private lending. Oh, so now you've niched kind of both sides of it? That sounds good to me. That sounds good. Teaching Spanish to passport bros. How does that sound as a business idea? There are too many other people doing that. Too many other people teaching Spanish for guys who want to get laid in Spanish countries. Sorry. You need to be way more niche than this. I'm considering several niches within the cruise industry, but there are many directions I could go. That's good. Pick one. Do some research and pick one. So is there a way to validate the viability of various niches in order to make the best decision? If the niches are all within an industry that is a high profit industry, you're okay. I don't know if cruise ships are a high profit industry right now. I don't know. If they are, great. You validate the industry in terms of the finances, and then you niche down. The question is, 2 questions. Does the niche have a lot of money? And what is their biggest problem and how do I solve it? That's a separate topic from niche. Once you develop the niche, then you got to figure out what their problem is. What's their biggest problem? Not one you're projecting on them. What is your biggest problem? Their biggest problem. And can you help solve that problem? So if they have money and they have a big fucking problem you can help with, you're in. You're golden. I'm building chatbots for business owners. I'm debating which specific niche I should narrow down to. Yeah. Business owners is not a niche. Pick a business niche that would be interested in chatbots. Now, here's my thing. I don't develop a thing and then try to sell it. I go to the niche first. I find a niche. I ask them what their problem is. I listen, and then I develop something to solve that problem. Not there, unless the one exception to that is you're trying to get the more customers or clients. If your chatbots is a marketing thing, then maybe that's okay. If it's something else, I wouldn't do it. Research the niche first. Make sense? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's see. My blogs. Let's talk about it really quick, and then we'll go to the next topic. And you can keep asking questions if you want. I just announced this on my mailing list, and I also announced this on YouTube and a few other places. The blogs are back. The Alpha Male 2.0 blog and the Sovereign CEO blog. I'm going to discuss this very briefly. You can go to the blogs and read the article there, my first article, where I explain all this shit. Okay? There are 2 blogs. There is the Alpha Male 2.0 blog, dating for men, relationships for men, masculine lifestyle. Okay? And then there's the Sovereign CEO blog, which is about business, location-dependent income, 5 flags, international, all that good stuff. 2 separate blogs. I'll be writing articles there once a week for each blog, at least once a week, probably once a week to start. Once a week. And each article might have 2 articles within it. Discuss that in a second. Every time a blog post gets posted, it will also get revamped into an email newsletter, which you will get if you're on my mailing list. You don't have to go look at the blog. It's just delivered right to you. And it includes all the graphics. If you're on my blog, my email newsletter now, email mailing list, you already got the blog newsletter thing. All the graphics and all that good stuff embedded in the email. That way it's just emailed to you. You have to be on the correct email list to get the correct newsletter. So there's a Sovereign CEO newsletter and an Alpha 2.0 newsletter. If you're just opted into the Sovereign CEO business topics, you will not get the Alpha 2.0 newsletter. That is by design, because a lot of people in the Sovereign CEO audience would be very offended by things I say in the Alpha 2.0 content. If you are subscribed to the Alpha 2.0 newsletter, you get both. Make sense? You can also go subscribe to the blogs too if you like. That's up to you. In the newsletter, you can click and it goes right to the blog post. You can read the blog post and you can leave a comment on the blog. It's a real blog. You leave comments again. Also, my way of monetizing this for me to justify the time I'm going to spend writing these articles, this is an idea you guys gave me, is that you can submit a question to us. You pay a small fee, and I will write an entire article, not 1 or 2 paragraphs, an entire article answering your question or addressing your topic. So you can do that as well. There's a link in each blog article on where to do that. Cool? And then once this gets, right now also, the platform where the blogs are right now is just WordPress.com. It's a cheapy freebie WordPress. And we're going to move those to the real blog in a few weeks. I didn't want to wait for my tech guys to get a blog perfect before I didn't want to make you guys wait another month. So they're there now. They're hosted there. We're going to move them in a few weeks. What else do I say about that? Once that gets rolling, it's over to the new blog, and there's a good swing with the audience. You guys are into it. We're all good to go. Then I'm going to start porting pieces or the entire chunks of these to LinkedIn and to X. I'm going back to Twitter. Can't believe this, but I'm going back to Twitter. I'm going to hate it, but I'm going to do it. So long form X, long form LinkedIn, hit the blog, kind of a hub and spoke thing. Okay. So an entire wing of Sovereign CEO and Alpha Male 2.0 text-based, which is what a lot of you guys really like and a lot of you guys really missed. So that's all coming back. Cool. Links for both blogs are below. I can verbally tell you. So the Sovereign CEO blog right now is at Location iBiz. So the word location, I'll just put it in the chat. Let's do it. Hang on. Also, again, the description of this video. So that's the SCEO blog. I will put the link for the Alpha 2.0 blog. If you are offended by blunt talk about men dating women, please do not go to that blog. Please do not go there. Please not go there. That is your disclaimer. You can't get mad at me now. I told you not to go there. So there's links to both. Yeah, there we go. All right, I'll answer a few more questions about niche. So we'll go to the next topic. Let's see. My niche is digital marketing agency for Mexican lawyers that specialize in real estate, property assessments to your U.S. border. What do you think? Sounds good. That sounds good to me. Sounds good. Can you talk about how to transition from a freelancer to a company owner and how to put systems in place, how to manage employees and more? That's a very big topic. That is a good Billy topic. So when I get Billy back on here, I will have Billy address that topic. It's a really good Billy topic. I'm good at that too, but Billy's better. Do you have any guys making social media content for businesses? For example, YouTube videos, Instagram Reels as a service. In the 90-Day Business Builder program, I don't think so. I think we have had people do things like that. Yes. I don't think we have right now. Off the top of my head, I don't think so. Here's the problem with those. You got to be you have so much fucking competition. You better be very, very, very fucking niche. Do something like that. That's a valid business model. Romessa does it, but niche. Caleb, I've used a really good service adjacent to my niche. Sorry, I'm going to start lower. I've used a really good service adjacent to my niche and get along with the business owner. How do you go about proposing joint ventures? Do I close clients plus charge a commission or provide leads to him? There's no rules to a JV, whatever makes sense. So it depends on if you're going to sell his audience or he's going to sell to your audience, or you don't have an audience. You're going to sell to his audience. You say, hey man, I'm going to sell to your audience, sell my thing to your audience. I will give you X commission and make a big fucking commission. You'll make a lot of money. That's it. You do nothing. Here's I always say it. You do nothing. You spend no money and you just make money. It's free. You don't have to do anything. I'll do all the work. Just free money to you. How about portfolio and asset management for wealthy individuals? Wealthy individuals, not a niche, who want to protect their assets. That's an example I said earlier. In case of Western civilization turmoil. Okay, so that's the same thing I said earlier. Wealthy people want to protect their assets, not a niche. They all want to protect their assets. Well, this is specifically in case of Western collapse. Still not a niche. So you're on the right path. You're not there yet. Keep narrowing. I'm an ops expert in a field that requires expensive equipment. Intention is a joint venture where my CO, I don't know what you mean, does ops and we get a financier to lease buy the equipment and we share profits. Comments. I don't understand half your question. We get a financier to lease buy the equipment and we share the profits. So the offering sounds good. I don't understand what the niche is. I don't know what the niche is. After we have found a niche, such as a cruise industry example above, how to decide whether or not to help the customers' clients themselves or get the industry company to market or get more customers? You ask them, what is your biggest problem, sir or ma'am? And then you shut the fuck up and you listen. You stop selling and you listen. You got to do research before you sell. The problem with new business owners, and 95% of you are in this category based on the questions you're asking me, and the question you've asked me before on other live streams and things like this, is you have a thing you already want to sell. You're already in a danger zone. When you already have a thing you want to sell, you're in a danger zone because you don't know if the niche needs that thing. It's better to take your idea you're super excited about, throw it away, or not throw it away. Put it over here, put it aside, get it out of your head. Then talk to the niche and listen. Talk to a bunch of people in the niche. What is your biggest problem in your job, in your company, in your life? In your job or life if it's B2C, in your company if it's B2B. And shut the fuck up and listen and write and make notes. And then talk to the next person. Ask the next person. And then you get 3, 4, 5, 6 people give you kind of the same thing, same one or two things. Aha. So then you say, how can I help them solve that problem? And my druthers, that's one of my favorite words. My druthers is what I said on a prior live stream: coaching, consulting, or service. Coaching, consulting, or service. Boom, you're there. And you're done. Now, if you have just no idea, then you would say, okay, I'm going to help you get customers, clients, patients, but you got to ask them, do you need more customers, clients, patients? There are some niches, I've worked in several, who don't want more customers. So then you're wasting your fucking time. So you still do some research. That's how it works. How are you able to write an entire article for $47, but your one-on-one coaching is $1,000? Because I can bang on an article fast and I can do it, and I can do 4 or 5 of them all at once. If I talk to you for an hour, I have to give you an hour. I can't do anything else for that hour. That's the difference. And I don't do, well, yeah, I do actually. That's the answer. Who is Romessa? Go look at the Sovereign CEO YouTube channel, and I interviewed her about 4 or 5 weeks ago. All right, a few more questions. Got the next up. I keep thinking about the handstand guy. If he's rich, why can't teaching people how to use expensive new computer tech photog work? I don't know what that is. Are luxury real estate brokers in major U.S. cities a niche? You're getting closer to a niche, but no. What luxury real estate broker is not in a major city? You see the problem there? So no, it's not a niche. Keep going, though. You're on the right path. For the JV, I meant his service is a great add-on upsell to mine. Oh, I see. So I propose his service to my clients. Not sure how to track that if I refer and he closes. Should I just close clients myself? I would close the clients. I would just close them yourself. And then two things. One is attach the service as an upsell or add-on. Have him negotiate before you do this a discount for you because you're going to give him free business, and then pad it on top of that a little bit. So you're making money twice. That's what I would do. Opinion on niche service. Cybersecurity offering, which is a good niche offering. It's not a niche. Offering a service to small business owners. That's not a niche. To protect their digital data from ransom. Okay, small business owners is not a niche. No. You know how many small business owners there are? Holy fuck. Photog cameras. So what was your question? You're going to teach people how to use expensive cameras? People is not a niche. Teach photographers how to use expensive cameras? They probably already know. So a certain type of photographer, maybe? I don't know. So you're in the zone, but you haven't narrowed it down. All right, next topic. And this is where I make all of you mad. So get ready to be mad. And the more irrational you are, we got a bunch of you in the audience, the more mad you'll be. But I'm right. Okay. Over my other channel, I talk about societal programming. Societal programming is messaging sent from the elites into your brain to more easily control you. This varies from political shit, politics, Republican stuff, capitalism stuff, socialism stuff, woke stuff, right-wing stuff, to religion, to cultural pressures, to what your mom and dad want. Very big topic. Go to my other channel for more details. One form of societal programming that is very powerful is having the elites getting you worked up about topics that don't matter to you. And the more news and or social media related news that you consume, the stupider and more irrational you will become. I am getting so many comments from you guys and emails from you guys getting all worked up about this goddamn Israel thing, when you have nothing to fucking do with it. It's worse, at least the United States, it's worse than the Ukraine war. And that was pretty horrible too. You guys are getting so worked up about so many stupid things. The number of people who sent me the thing about the AI guy who got fired. Caleb, what do you think about the AI guy who got fired? This means I know your life is out of control. If you're pissed off about Israel or Palestine or Hamas or the guy at AI getting fired or any of this shit, you're pissed off about this, you have a strong opinion about this, your life is out of control because you're not being rational. And I will prove it to you right now. You're not being rational. In many cases, you're just being fucking stupid. Shit. 130,000 people have died in Yemen. Did any of you get pissed off about that? No. Were there marches on free Yemen? No. 300,000 people died in the Sudan. Did you guys get all worked up and pissed off about that? No, you didn't. But 1,200 people die on one day on October 7th, and everyone goes, ah! All the right-wingers go, Israel is awesome and Hamas is evil. And all the left-wingers go, Israel is evil. They're killing people. Hamas is awesome. The Palestinians are... You're psychotic. Why? Why do you get worked up about this little thing and not these big things? Because you've been societally brainwashed by your fucking news and your social media. You're watching too much of this shit. You're consuming too much of this shit. You got to stop, or at least take a fucking break. It's rotting your fucking minds. And I teach rationality and happiness. And this is the opposite of both rationality and happiness. When you're arguing with people online about who's murdered more children, Israel or Hamas. God. Why are you worked up about this? You're worked up about this because the elites want you worked up about this. When you're screaming at other people on Twitter or YouTube or Facebook or whatever the fuck you're doing, or you're getting all worked up watching YouTube videos, you're not focusing your attention on the elites who are screwing you every day. And the elites love it. They love it. A good parallel for this a few years ago was in the United States, gay marriage. The issue of gay marriage in the United States. You guys already forgot this, but I remember for about 2 years, Americans could talk about nothing else other than gay marriage. All the right-wingers were like, ah, ah, and all the left-wingers were like, ah, 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 and screaming and yelling and screaming and yelling. And does it matter? Did it matter? No. And the elites loved it. They're like, look at these morons. They're bitching about gay marriage. It doesn't fucking matter. Give each other high fives. Or let's print up some more trillions of dollars and raise some more taxes and, start some more wars. This is fucking, they won't care about us because they're screaming at each other about gay marriage. Now you're screaming about Hamas and Israel. Oh. Now, to be fair, I'm objective. Unlike many of you, I'm objective and rational. There are 2 exceptions to this that you can be worked up about something like Israel v. Hamas. Okay. One, if you live in Israel, okay. If you live in Israel, then obviously you have every right to get worked up about this. You're probably still not rational about it. I'll cover that in a second. But you have every right to spend some emotional energy on this if that's what you live. Fine. How many of you live in Israel? 99.9% of you screaming and yelling about this and worried about this or concerned about this don't live in Israel, don't know one in Israel, don't give a shit. Doesn't matter to you at all because you're just being insane because societal programming is working on you. Second exception. If you have close family members, I don't mean you have a distant second cousin. You have like your mom, your dad, your grandpa, one of your children, they live in Israel. Okay, again, fine, makes sense. Outside of that, you shouldn't give a fuck. While you're expending energy on this bullshit, you're not building your Alpha 2.0 business. You're not improving your life. You're not making more money. You're not building a 5 flags plan. You're not getting more free. You only have a certain amount of emotional energy and hours in the day, and you're having it all sucked out of your brain, sucked out of your body by this bullshit news and social media. And again, I'm using this Israel-Hamas thing as just one example. There's 27 different examples I can give you for the last several years. Caleb, what do you think about the Canada trucker protest? What the fuck does that have to do with you, you moron? This is particularly egregious because this is literally the joke example that I have given before. So this is how bad it's gotten, okay? Some of you have heard me give this example. I've talked about this, I think, on a podcast, and I talked about this in my blogs too, I think. I use the example of how Americans view the lesser of 2 evils political system. You got to vote for this horrible person or that horrible person. Those are the only choices we have. So I guess got to vote for one. Okay, so the scenario, the analogy I gave is you live in a small town. There's 2 people running for mayor. One mayor was convicted of and proven, this is not alleged, this is proven, of molesting 20 children. The other candidate, so there's 2 candidates. The other candidate was proven to have molested 30 children. So then the question is, who do you vote for? Now, if you're irrational, if you're a psycho bastard, if you're completely insane, you say, well, obviously, we got to vote for one, so we got to vote for the one who only molested 20 children. That's if you're insane. If you're rational, if you're objective and you're not a moron, you say, I live in a town full of insane people. I got to get the fuck out of here and or do my best to detach from the system so that these insane people don't hurt me. Because these people are actually arguing about vote for this person or that person based on the number of. So now we have Israel v. Hamas. Both sides have murdered thousands of children and bombed hospitals. And they're both saying it to each other. Well, you guys murder children. You guys bomb hospitals. Well, so have you. So then the argument becomes, I've seen this now on Twitter. I can't believe this. Well, my side has killed less children. Therefore, my side is good and honorable, and your side is evil. As usual, as the Western world continues to collapse, what was once parody is now reality. Trump. What was once a Saturday Night Live parody or the equivalent to that is now real. And you are a part of this if you are worked up about this. The same thing with the fucking Putin versus Ukraine thing. It's the same exact thing. What did people do with that? They said, we'll see, am I a right winger or a left winger? Well, I'm a left winger. I love Ukraine. Fuck Russia. Fuck Putin. Or let's see, do I love left wingers or I hate the woke left? I hate the woke left. You know, Putin had a really good point. You know, all you people, Ukraine sucks. Putin had a good point. So is either side being rational? No. The people are doing this now. I'm not going to mention names. Let's see. What race am I? Let's see. Let me look at my race. I'm Jewish. I am pro-Israel. Fuck Hamas. Right? Or let's see. I'm Arabic. Oh, fuck Israel. I'm for the Palestinians. Which side is being rational? Neither. Which one is being rational, objective, based on the facts? I mean, I'm not picking on this. I'll give you some more real statistics. When Obama was president, and I forget the exact number, something like 94. You can Google this if you don't believe me. I'm going to give you some amazing statistics you're not going to believe. Google it if you don't believe me. I might be off by 1 or 2 points, 3 or 4 points, but this is true. I believe the number was 94% of black people voted for Obama. Look me in the eye and tell me these people will be objective and rational and doing the research as to who would be the best president. Or are they just looking at their skin and looking at his skin and say, I want him? This is not about black people or left wingers. I'll give you a right wing example. The number I believe is 88%. I believe that is the correct number. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm off 1 or 2%, you want to be a nitpicker. Approximately 88% of all evangelical Christians voted for Trump, a man who epitomizes the opposite lifestyle that they espouse. Again, were they making rational, objective decisions? No. They were saying, I hate this person, therefore I'll vote for this person. Why were they thinking this way? Because of social media and all this bullshit news. And you're doing the same fucking thing, a lot of you. Maybe even most of you watch this video, either live or the recording. I teach long-term consistent happiness. It is the umbrella over which everything I teach, my business stuff, my lifestyle stuff, even stuff I talk about like investing and things like that, the umbrella is long-term consistent happiness. This is not possible if you insist on going on social media and getting worked up about these issues that have nothing to fucking do with you. I mean, let me rewind a little bit. All you concerned about, now that things going on in Israel, Caleb, aren't you scared about there might be a world war? No. Did you say that about Sudan? Nope. When hundreds of thousands of people were slaughtered? No. Okay. You can't be long-term happy if you insist on being part of this system. I am going to submit to you that there is a strong percentage of you, maybe even you, yes, you fucker, you watching this video, you might need to take a break from all news and all social media that is attached to the news. I am strongly recommending to you, because I did this similarly, I'll talk about what I did, to take the next 30 days, and not literally the next 30 days, cover that in a second, and not consume any news or go on any social media that has news in your feed. Now, the majority of you who need to do this are not going to do it. You are addicted to the high of getting angry about these irrational topics because you're so far gone, you're so irrational, you have so little emotional control, you're just going to keep doing it even if you logically admit what I'm saying is accurate. Yeah, this makes me mad, I shouldn't do it, but I can't stop. I remember, I'm not going to mention names, 2 or 3 names of some famous internet people who tried to stop arguing with people against their politics on Twitter and Facebook, and they try to get away, and they go, I just can't help it. I got to argue with these people. That's called lack of emotional control. And again, you'll never be happy if that's your attitude, if that's who you are. So here's what I would recommend. Number 1, I would recommend you pick a date on the calendar. Don't do this now or tomorrow because you have to plan this shit out. It's going to be a big change for a lot of you. Pick a date on the calendar sometime in the next few weeks. You could even do this for maybe the month of January. Relax in December and then start off January during go time. However you want to do this. But I would do it soon, maybe December 15th, December 21st. I don't know. Attach it to the Christmas holiday. Would it be easier for you? Where as of that date, you are not going to consume any news. But Caleb, what if? I'll get to the what ifs in a minute, you lissig. You're not going to listen to any news, watch any news on YouTube, any news on your phone, all of your news sources, news blogs, no news for 30 days. You'll be shocked at how happy you'll be. I've talked to some people who've done this, and they're so relaxed. They're like me, because I already don't do this. Most of the news of these big events I hear about comes from you guys on these. Caleb, have you heard of it? I haven't heard of it. You know why? I don't pay attention to the news. I'm too busy building my empire and working my mission and being a happy guy. See how this works? Number one, no news. Number two, either you're off social media, which would be a good idea for most of you fuckers, or you do what I did many years ago. This is an example of what I did. I got sick of this political shit. This is part of when I moved out of the collapsing USA, and I'm like, nah, I don't care. This is like, America collapses, fine. It's not my problem anymore. I live in Dubai. I'm good. So what I did is I went to my YouTube channel, and it took me some time. I went to all my social medias, and it took me, like an afternoon to do all this. It took me more time than I expected. And I went through so for example, with YouTube, you can unsubscribe from channels, but we can also do, if you don't want to unsubscribe, you just can't do it. You can have them not show up on your feed. There's another button you can press on YouTube, and there's other social media platforms that have a similar feature where you stay subscribed to that person, but that person's or company's videos doesn't show up in your feed anymore. And I went through every political channel that I was subscribed to, and there was a lot. Go through all the people you're subscribed to on YouTube, and you'll be shocked all the shit is in there. I'm like, oh my God. Oh. And I go, oh yeah, I remember I subscribed to this fucking company. And what I went is either unsubscribe from them, or in most cases, I said, don't show videos on my feed. And I did this over the next several days. And so now on my YouTube feed, I get no politics and have it for years. It's great. I don't give a fuck. No news, no politics. Awesome. It was so great. Do that in addition to no news. So you can't look at any news stuff. That includes things like if you're on Reddit, you're discussing news shit on Reddit, you can't go to Reddit anymore. Wherever you go for your news, you can't go there anymore, or you need to remove the news component from it completely. 30 days. Now, I say 30 days because then you'll know subconsciously, what if, okay, you can do it again in 30 days. Okay, you can take 30 days. Caleb, I'm a big lissig, and I have to know everything, and it has to make me mad because I have no reason. I'm irrational about this. So what if a news story comes out and I don't know about it? You know what's going to happen? People are going to tell you. That's how I get my news. You'd be shocked the amount of news in terms of the big events I hear about from people in my life, including Pink Firefly, my wife, who would say, hey, did you hear about da-da-da? Like, no. What's going on? And then if I need to look it up to talk to you guys about it, or I need to be aware of it for investing, and I look it up. Usually like, I don't give a fuck. Okay? Or you guys tell me. Trust me, people will tell you. You'll hear about it. It's okay. It's all right. And here's the question to ask yourself. Are you some sort of international banker mogul? Do you need to know about news all over the world? Why? Why is this? Who gives a fuck? You're some kind of fitness coach, but you have to know what's going on in Israel. Why? Explain to me exactly how this news reflects your job and your ability to solve problems for your customers, clients, patients, what have you. 95% of you has nothing to fucking do with it. A lot of you don't even have jobs. That's the amazing shit. A lot of you fucking listings don't even have fucking jobs. You're spending all the time bitching about Israel. Double stupid for you fuckers. 30 days. 30 days. I might even do a thing next year where I do this thing along with you, like 30 days, and we do a daily thing together. I might do that because some of you are so addicted to this crap. Not some of you, a hell of a lot of you. And you're doing the opposite. It's like COVID all over again. You're doing the opposite of what I teach, which is long-term consistent happiness. How can you be happy if you're screaming at people about Israel, the war in Ukraine, or what's the other thing? What's the other political thing people were pissed about like a week ago? Another stupid fucking thing. What was it? So I don't even know because I don't pay attention to this shit. I'm too busy working and living my life, traveling, having a great time, making more money. That's what I'm doing. Were you screaming at left-wingers and woke people, or if you're a left-winger, screaming at right-wingers and Trumpers for no fucking reason? Let me see my notes here. See if I forgot. Yeah, I have a note here. Does what you do for a living mandate that you know all the details of the Ukraine war or what some woke politicians said in the UK? Right. But Caleb, I live in the UK. Hey, guess what? You can live in the UK and turn off all news about UK too. You need to. By the way, I didn't say The news in your own country is allowed. No. That'll make you the most angry. Turn off all news in your country and the whole world. Now, a subset of news is politics. We're not in the middle of a presidential election right now, so this is a good time to do this. But Caleb, what if? There is no what if. You'll be fine. Take a deep breath, relax, stop being a maniac, stop being a lissig, and here's what you're going to do. Instead of all the time you're spending on this bullshit, you can redirect that time into where you should redirect it, which is into you, yourself. Ideally, your Alpha 2.0 business and or your 5 flags plan. If you follow me on the other channel, that other stuff over there. Something to improve you. By the way, we have entered into a collapsing era where we're in a state of collapse for the next 30 years or so. This is more important now that you spend less time on this political bullshit, this news bullshit, and more time on yourself. I've said this 10,000 times. If this was 1985, you could waste all the fucking time you wanted and you'd be okay. If this was 1954, you could waste time on news and politics and you'd probably be fine. We don't live in those eras anymore. The United States, Canada, and Europe, the collapsing trifecta, are collapsing right before your fucking eyes. And you're not doing anything about it because you're yelling about 1,200 people dying in Israel. Stop. Do yourself a favor. I don't care if you do this. I've already achieved most of my goals. I'm good. I'm covered no matter what happens because unlike you guys, I spent my time investing into myself, my businesses, my investments, my 5 flags, my lifestyle, and now I'm good. So I don't give a fuck if you do this or not. Go ahead. If you don't want to take this 30-day thing, or you know you should, but you won't because you can't control yourself emotionally, great, don't. But I'm here to help you and assist. It's part of my mission to assist you. So I would strongly recommend you take 30 days, not starting today or tomorrow. Don't make a knee-jerk thing because then you won't do it. Sit down and plan this out. Put it on your calendar. Okay, I'm going to have one more week where I'm going to get all worked up and yell at people about Israel. And then next Monday, I'm going to start my 30 days. This is a good time to do this. The reason I'm bringing this up, A, because it's Israel thing, and B, because you'll have a full week in there of very little news and shit because of Christmas and New Year's. It's kind of a dead week. So that's perfect. So instead of, that takes almost a week out of the 4 weeks you have to do this for. It's great. Then you might find, and a lot of people have, if you've heard about other people doing this, you might find at the end of 30 days, you don't want to go back. You love it. Many of you will do this. You're like, well, why go back? Huh? Kind of like when I stopped eating sugar. There was a time when I stopped eating sugar a few weeks earlier this year where I said, I can have sugar now because it's been however long it was, 6 weeks or whatever. And I'm like, I don't want any. Great. I still want bread. I still want pizza. I still want noodles, but I don't want sugar anymore. Works the same way with this political shit. You will not believe how much happier you are, how more effective you are at your work, how your sleep will improve, how less tense you are all day. You guys are all fucking tense. Try it. Some of you have neck pain, shoulder pain, or stomach ulcers because it's bullshit. Well, but the woke people, who cares? If you do 5 flags, this won't matter to you anyway. If you move outside the collapsing West or set up international backup plan, internationalize your income, you're fine anyway. You're okay. That's why I don't care about this stuff. I'm working on exciting shit. The difficulty I've been through this year has ended, more or less now, more or less. So now I'm into the exciting shit I've talked about on this podcasts. I'm going to make 2024 the best year of my entire life. And that's going to be hard work because I've had a lot of really good years. That's what I'm working on. I was working on that this morning. My Unchained Man book, and then I work on my planning out the next year. Oh. Well, you guys are like, God damn it. See the difference? Think about it. Strongly recommend it. One of the, there are a few things I recommend more. Now, some of you don't need this, but a lot of you do. And if you're in the category of, he's talking about me. Yeah. Okay. That's it. Let's do a few more questions. How are we doing on time here? Oh, we're doing pretty good. Let's see. Can we ask ChatGPT what are the niche's biggest problems? Or we have to talk to actual people? You have to talk to actual people because ChatGPT does not understand niche. It understands industries. It doesn't know what a narrow niche is. Can ChatGPT give you the day-to-day experience of a podiatrist in private practice who da-da-da-da-da? No. It can give you information on doctors. So you got to talk to people. Sorry. What's your advice for a guy who's from an underdevelopment country? Set up your Alpha 2.0 business selling to people who live in cities or regions that are expensive. So if you're an underdeveloped country, the beauty is it's cheap. So you set up your location-dependent online company to sell things to people in New York, London, Tokyo, Los Angeles, places that are very expensive. Then you're golden. It's perfect. I stopped watching the news long ago. News is mostly trash, hype, and social pressure. I totally agree. That's correct. That's correct. Every one of my socials posts about the war. Yeah, I know. Wow, you should invite me to be your apprentice. I've been privy to these concepts for years. So have I. How do you balance social media when you use it for a company, but hate seeing social media for this reason? What I said earlier. Do your best to customize your feed. Caleb, by Jan 1, 2025, I will get a temporary residency flag, making that my Mexico next year. Cool. Excellent. Good job. Do you think China will still run the world in the future? Yes. Seem to have lots of issues as of late. Yes. What did I say about this? When I said China rule the world, I said on its way to rule the world, it's going to have lots of catastrophic problems, the same way that the United States, on its way to rule the world, had a lot of catastrophic problems of its own. China's going to have a real hard time next few decades. It'll still be the biggest, least bad country once America and all these other countries collapse. Some of you are talking about people bitching about it. My favorite topics are when Caleb just yells at us for 20 minutes. Me too. Actually, I don't care. When socializing, which I avoid, people often want to argue about news and act condescending if you don't know the details. These people are my fellow listics. Right. So guess what? Alchemy Dependence. I don't care. I don't have that problem in Dubai because Dubai people don't give a fuck about politics. But every once in a while you get somebody, you go, I don't know about that. Like, there was someone I was just talking to, someone in my personal life, lives in Dubai, a woman, and we were talking about Poland. And I mentioned something about Poland, and she's like, oh, you dumb Americans who don't know anything about the world. I love to hear Americans talk about Poland because she's from Poland. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I'm a dumbass. Don't care. Do you think it's still recommended to stop completely, even if you don't get worked up and just get the news as neutral information and are detached from it? If you're being honest about that, there's a percentage of you who could assimilate the news and not get worked up. I don't know if you're honest. If I followed you around with a clipboard and I saw everything you typed on your phone and your keyboard all day long for a week, I'm never going to see you discuss this topic with anybody. If I could read your mind for a week, I'm never going to see you get a little, like, God damn it, worked up in your head. If the answer is no and no, then you're fine. Got to be honest with yourself. Elites controlling everything is only half true. They are preventing some evil emperor will rise. What do you think? I don't understand what you're referring to. When do you predict the economic crash so we can finally invest in crypto and real estate? As I've said 10,000 times, there's no way to know when the West will collapse. I just know it will happen in our lifetimes. It could be in 3 years. It could be in 35 years. I don't know when, and no one else knows. And if anyone gives you a specific date, they're either lying, irrational, or trying to sell you something. I don't know. I just know it's going to happen in your lifetime, which means you need to prepare for it now and not wait. I am from Pakistan. Where do I begin? Well, if you're from Pakistan, I would recommend you watch the interview I did with Romessa on this channel, on the Sovereign CEO channel. Sovereign CEO, because I know this is on Alpha 2.0 also. Watch that video, give you some motivation, and start researching niches. Find niches in Western countries that have problems that you can help. That's step one. What are your favorite tools for providing services? Website, email list, booking calls, payment processing, etc. That's a very big question. I like Basecamp. It's a very big question. Do you recommend me to start a B2C business around my passion instead of B2B? Because I don't give a shit about other people's business, to be honest, and can't get myself to do the work for them. The standard answer for us, Billy and myself, is if you don't care, you always do B2C. B2C is easier from zero to the money fast, and they're easier customers. They don't bitch as much. They don't ask for refunds as much, and you can charge them more money. They don't care. Companies. If you hate working with businesses and you're really passionate about working with people, then go ahead and work with people. That's okay. But if you don't care, it's B2C. Sounds like you care. There's a chapter of the 4-hour work week advising people to go on an information diet, taking in less news. Tim would only look at the front page of the paper or just ask people what happened. Correct. That's correct. He's a good example of that. I don't know if he still does that, but Tim Ferriss is a good example of this. Yeah. And how successful is Tim Ferriss? I think it's worth $100 million now. So it works. How much time do you spend on global events since you seem to know about what most is going on in the world? The last few years, much less. And I hear about it. Here's what I do. Now, here's the difference. I don't get worked up. I don't care who's right or wrong. I'm against everybody. Government of Israel versus Hamas. Who am I for? Who am I against? Both, because they both kill children. I've talked about this many times. Government of Ukraine or Putin? Who do I side with? They're both awful. These are two horribly corrupt shithole countries. So I can be objective. I don't take sides. America bombing Iraq. Who am I for? Neither. They don't bomb Iraq anymore. But so I don't get worked up by this. So what I do is if I hear about something big, I will take a few minutes when it's designated in my schedule. I don't just stop my work and go, oh, I better look right now. Oh my God. When it is designated in my schedule, I can take a break if I want to. And sometimes I don't even bother. Then I will do some research on it very briefly. And I will look at left-wing sources, right-wing sources, and if I can, libertarian sources, and I will average together the stories to get the real picture. That's it. That's all I'll do. And then I will get back to work. And I go, oh, that's hilarious. Everyone's being an idiot again. And I will go back to work, and I won't care. That's me. On Thanksgiving, my family was freaking out about Ireland, even though we were in the U.S. Yeah, exactly. I know. My favorite content on social media is really attractive women with that post-positive, Pollyannish, motivational clips and cute animals. You know what? I do that. I will look at puppy videos. I'll do it. They're awesome. Aside from that, I watch business stuff on H2O. Yeah, me too. Is the crash supposed to come very soon given interest rates and inflation? An economic recession or maybe a depression? Possibly. I'm talking about the collapse of the United States, not a recession. What is the best actual use of AI in your business? Depends your business. I'll visit Dubai in January for the first time. Would be happy to buy you a drink and say hi in real life. Would it be possible as a coaching session? No. That's my standard answer. Sorry, no. And I don't do 1-hour coaching sessions. What are your thoughts about Brazil overall? Hot, booming economy, hot chicks, hypersexual dating culture, but still good family values. Overall, it is a growing economy with lots of problems similar to Asia. Also, Brazil and Argentina are the two most insane countries in the world. They're crazy. So a lot of insanity in Brazil. Brazil's also getting more left and more woke. There's a big woke component occurring in Brazil. So it sounds like you're a right-winger. That's not going to last very long in Brazil. But Brazil's fine. Yeah, it's decently it's nothing wrong with it as a flag. Just be aware they're crazy. And they like it that way. Yeah. I reached out to you after the interview video you recommended me and after I read your book. Cool. All right. I'm going to take a drink of water. I'm going to ask you a few more questions, and then I will vámonos. Does vámonos mean leave or go in Spanish? I should know this. Ooh. Vamos. No, that's vamos. Vámonos. Man. Let's see here. I want to have kids, but keep the player lifestyle. Have lots of new. I do not answer those questions on the Sovereign CEO channel. Sovereign CEO videos. See? Sovereign CEO. See? Sovereign CEO. Wait till Wednesday, and I'll ask how you can answer those questions. Haven't checked, but do you have a resource somewhere with best ways to find and contact people in a niche and ask their biggest problems are? Yes, it's called the 90-Day Business Builder. I suggest you go there and sign up. We're starting on Saturday. Outside of that, no. I'll do 1 or 2 more questions, then I will take off. These live streams are getting bigger and bigger every week. The numbers keep growing every week. I'm surprised. I didn't think that would do well. I just did that as a whim because it's easier. It takes less time to do live streams than do recorded videos and edit and all that shit. So I'm surprised these are actually starting to do better. Interesting. And also, the YouTube algorithm doesn't like live streams, but I don't care about the algorithm anymore. So I figured, that's interesting. Interesting. Let's see. Where are we here? Are vitamin supplements BS? No, I take a handful of vitamins every day. You have to take certain ones. You have to eat them with food with fat in it, or else they go out your pee. How do you link your well-being to specific products? I don't link my well-being to vitamins. I link my long-term anti-aging, my long-term longevity to vitamins. Vitamins don't make you feel any better. That's bullshit. You want to feel better? Get more sleep, drink more water, stop stressing out, stop drinking coffee. There you go. That'll make you feel better. Yes, it was top of recession, not total collapse. Correct. When do you predict it? I don't predict recessions or depressions with date accuracy because no one can predict these things. A lot of people said 2023 would be a huge recession. Did that happen? No. Main steps to start a B2C around my passions to get to the money quickest. I'll say it again. Vamonos means let's go. Oh, let's go. Oh. Okay. I thought it meant something else. Interesting. All right. Vamonos. You know why I recommend that word? Because that's in Aliens. Vasquez is vamonos. Main steps to start a B2C. Hang on, I need more water. Main steps to start a B2C business around my passions to get the money quickest. I'll summarize it. And I've said some of this already in this video / podcast. Take your passion and put it aside. Forget about your passion for a minute. But forget about your passion. Your passion may not make any money. You know what my passion is? Writing fantasy fiction. Why don't I have a big business about that? Because it doesn't make any money. Okay. So take your passion, temporarily put it on the shelf. Number one. Number two, research several narrow niches. Number three, take your finalists and call them or email them and ask them what their biggest problem is. Number four, see if you can develop a product informational service, ideally coaching, consulting, or a service that can help alleviate that problem. Number five, you can take your passion and put it back in there. Great. If you can't, suck it up and have your passion be your second company. Those are your initial steps. What skills make the best alpha male 2.0? Too broad of a question. The worst is when your family is obsessed with a political, social topic and feel you don't care about them if you don't care about the topic. I don't care about my family. What? Yeah. I've said this. I care about my 2 children and kind of my parents. That's it. I don't give a fuck about my family. I don't care about brothers. I love them. I don't care about them. That's their life. They're adults. That's their life. I don't give a fuck. If they were smart, they'd be out of the United States. So I care about my 2 kids. Care about them, of course. Sort of my 2 parents, who are both elderly. I got a big family. I don't give a fuck. Of course, I care about my wife. We're talking about family now. I don't care. You think, but what do you think my family thinks about my lifestyle? What do you think? So if I gave a shit, I'd be really worked up, right? But I don't care. Have your passion be your second company. Yes. If your passion cannot make money fast, yes. A lot of you have passions or work experience that isn't very profitable. And you're going to have to do, I'll end with this. You're going to have the balls, and it takes balls to say, I really want to do this, but I realize if I did this, I'm not going to make a shitload of money quickly. So instead, I will put it on the shelf. I'm not going to throw it in the trash. The shelf is right there. Put it on the shelf. You can look at it. I love you. You can play with it every once in a while. Take it off the shelf and nuzzle it and play with it a little bit like a tribble. Put it back on the shelf. And you start a business that makes fucking money. Then when you're making fucking money, then you can start doing your passion or do your passion to the second business. When I hit age 54, one of the things I'm going to do a lot more is write fantasy fiction, and I won't care how much money it makes because I already have money. See how this works? But like I said, some of you can take elements of your passion and put it in your business. I have other passions besides fantasy fiction. I put that in my companies too, including this one. I love talking about this stuff. Love it. That's one of my passions, not my passion, one of my passions. But if you and occasionally we get these people in Business Builder, I want to do this. That sucks. No one's going to pay you for this quickly. That's going to take you 5 years to make money, if that. Well, fuck you. I want to do this. Well, okay then. Not going to make any money at it. It's not niched. It's not high margin. It's not this. It's not that. Okay. This is why, and I'm talking to myself. I'm the example. Again, I walk my talk. Otherwise, I would be writing fantasy fiction novels and short stories all day long, and I'd make about $20,000 a year. And my life would suck ass. You have to understand this. All right. I got to go. Top 3 marketing books of all time depends on the answer is it depends. Any good niches to find within men's health, i.e. natural testosterone optimization. Yeah, testosterone for whom, and find a narrow type of guy. I didn't think you'd say make the passion a business at all. I get it though. Will the U.S. collapse like Venezuela with mass migration? Perhaps. There's one of 6 ways the U.S. will collapse. You can go read my blogs or look on this the Sovereign CEO channel. I describe one of the 6 possibilities, and one of them is mash. What's the opposite of migration? Emigration, where people leave? Yes, it's possible. Yeah. I'm talking about the top 3 persuasion influence books. Well, you just said it. Influence and Never Split the Difference by Voss. And there's 2. There you go. All right, guys. I'm going to leave. You can check out the blogs. Links are below if you'd like. You can subscribe to those if you like. You can also opt into those lists if you like. And I will see you guys. For those who are interested in Alpha Male 2.0 topics, I will see you on Wednesday. Cool? Cool. All right. Have fun.